In today's video, we're answering the question, who were the Philistines? For more information about ancient cultures and archaeology, check out our website. And now let's meet the Philistines. The Philistines were an ancient people who emerged during the Late Bronze Age and became prominent in the southern Levant during the Iron Age. Although they're relatively obscure, their history and identity have been pieced together through a combination of biblical accounts, Egyptian and Assyrian records, and archaeological discoveries. Their presence is particularly significant because they played a major role in shaping the history of ancient Israel. We'll begin by looking at the Philistines' origins and early history before exploring their society, culture, religion, technology, and legacy. We'll also discuss how archaeologists have worked to uncover their story, origins and migration, the Sea Peoples. When the Philistines first appear in history, they're mentioned in the context of a group known as the Sea Peoples, a confederation of seafaring groups that disrupted the eastern Mediterranean around 1200 BC. According to Egyptian inscriptions, including those found in Ramesses III's mortuary temple at Medinet Habu, he fought against the Sea People. In one battle, he claimed to have captured 144 ships and killed 9,000 of his enemies. He depicted them as a motley crew, including archers, sword-bearers, and spearmen. However, the text doesn't use the term Philistines here, instead referring to them as Jekaralakariquana and Shur. Some scholars believe that the Philistines were one group among many that made up the Sea People, given that the Sea People attacked across the Mediterranean, including attacking Egypt and the Hittite Empire. It's possible that the Philistines may have originally come from the Aegean or Anatolia, but this isn't certain. After being repelled by Ramesses III, the Philistines likely traveled southwest, eventually settling along the southern coast of Canaan, where they established a pentapalace of 5 independent city-states: Gaza, culture, and society. The Philistines arrived in Canaan during the height of the Iron Age, characterized by the widespread use of iron tools and weapons. As newcomers, the Philistines brought with them Aegean traditions and knowledge of ironworking, which gave them a military advantage over the Canaanites. However, there's evidence that nearby groups, including the Israelites, quickly adopted similar technologies. This suggests that the Philistines' influence extended beyond warfare, encompassing broader aspects of material culture. As mentioned previously, archaeological findings indicate that early Philistine pottery, architecture such as hearth designs, and even dietary habits such as pork consumption, as seen in the animal bones at sites like Ashkelon, reflect Aegean influences. This suggests that the Philistines migrated from areas such as Greece, Cyprus, or Crete. Over time, their culture blended with local Canaanite traditions, resulting in a unique fusion of Aegean and Near Eastern elements. This is evident in their religion, where deities like Dagon, associated with grain and fish, Asherah and Baal-zebub linked to the presence of temples and cultic artifacts points towards syncretism between Aegean and Near Eastern practices. Technology. The Philistines' proficiency in ironworking was a defining feature of their culture. Their expertise in this technology gave them a military edge, as evidenced by the mention of iron chariots in the Bible. It's believed that they introduced new methods of iron production and craftsmanship to the region. However, as neighboring groups like the Israelites adopted similar technologies, the Philistines' monopoly on ironworking eventually ended. Nevertheless, their contributions to the advancement of ironworking in the ancient Near East are significant. Conflict and legacy. The Philistines are portrayed as the archenemies of the Israelites in the Hebrew Bible. Stories such as Samson and Delilah and David vs. Goliath reflect not only biblical narratives, but also the historical reality of territorial and cultural clashes during the Iron Age. These narratives, however, should be understood in their historical context, acknowledging both the literary and historical elements they contain. Political history. Despite the common portrayal of the Philistines as a unified whole, the 5 major Philistine cities were politically independent. Each city had its own ruler, and while they sometimes united to face common foes, they also competed with each other. The Philistine cities reached their peak during the 10th and 9th centuries BCE. During this time, they controlled valuable agricultural lands and coastal trading routes. Their wealth and power attracted the attention of neighboring empires. In the 8th century BCE, the Assyrians invaded Philistia, destroying Gaza and other cities. Later in 604 BCE, the Babylonians destroyed Ashkelon and other cities, marking the end of Philistine autonomy. The surviving Philistines were eventually absorbed into the Achaemenid and then Alexander's empires. By the 5th century BCE, the region was known as Syria Palestina, and the native inhabitants were called Philistines, reflecting their distinct identity within the broader cultural landscape. Assimilation. By the time of the Persian conquest in the 6th century BC, the term Philistine carried negative connotations for Jews, who associated them with oppression and foreign domination. This is evident in the writings of Jewish authors like Nehemiah and Ezra, who used the term Philistine to refer to non-Jewish inhabitants of the land of Israel during their return from exile. This usage reflects a shift in identity, as the term evolved from a geographical descriptor to a term used by Jews to distinguish themselves from those they viewed as outsiders. During the Second Temple period, The Jews increasingly used the term Jew to define their collective identity. This further highlights the changing perceptions and self-identification of the people of Judah. Archaeological insights. Archaeological excavations at sites like Ekron, known as Tel Mikne, and Ashkelon have provided invaluable insights into Philistine society. At Tel Mikne, the Philistine city of Ekron, excavations have revealed a well-planned city with distinct neighborhoods, including a large area dedicated to cultic activity. The discovery of imported Mycenaean pottery suggests connections to Greece. The site also features an acropolis, palaces, and an industrial complex for producing oil. Philistine contributions to olive oil production are highlighted by the presence of large presses and storage facilities. This indicates that they engaged in large-scale olive cultivation and oil production, supplying not only local consumption, but also export to other regions. The Philistines' reputation as expert olive oil producers was so widespread that the Greeks referred to all Western Asians as Philistines. In addition to their economic activities, the archaeological record provides evidence of Philistine art and material culture. The discovery of a Philistine funerary temple at Ashkelon has shed light on their burial practices. The temple contained human remains, some in stone coffins and others in pithos jars, suggesting a blend of local Canaanite and Aegean influences. The art and iconography found on funerary urns also offer insights into Philistine religious beliefs and artistic expression. Moreover, the analysis of animal bones from Philistine sites such as Ashkelon has revealed dietary habits. The consumption of pork, uncommon among the surrounding Near Eastern populations, points to their Aegean origins. Philistine DNA studies conducted in 2019 further support the link to Europe, suggesting a migration of people from the Aegean to the Levant. Around 1800 years before the study was conducted, name and term Philistine derives from the Hebrew Palashit and the Greek Palestine, which the Romans later used to rename Judea as Syria Palastia in the 2nd century CE. This association with the Roman Empire and the term used in the Christian era contributed to its negative connotations. However, it's important to clarify that modern Palestinians are not necessarily direct descendants of the ancient Philistines. Rather, they represent the diverse peoples who have inhabited the region over the past few millennia. The name Palestia is rooted in Philistia, but it encompasses a much broader historical narrative. Conclusion. The Philistines were a complex people whose legacy bridges the Bronze Age collapse, biblical narratives, and the cultural mosaic of the ancient Near East. While much of what we know about them comes from their conflicts with the Israelites, they were part of a broader cultural exchange between the Mediterranean and the Levant. Their story, pieced together through archaeology and ancient texts, offers a glimpse into a fascinating chapter of history. What did you find most interesting about the Philistines? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and stay tuned for more educational content. Thanks for watching.